How to inspect a tire like a pro. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna look at the information on the outside of the wheel, the sidewall of the wheel, and what we wanna find is we wanna find a manufacturer date code. And as you look, we're gonna work clockwise. We're gonna look for 4-digit number. So my little light, we're looking for 4 digits, and right here. It's upside down, but it says 2226, and that means that this tire was made in the 22nd week of 2026. So we know our tire is fairly new. Now, if your date shows more than 6 years old, then most likely you're gonna wanna look at that tire more closely because it's at the end of its life. The next piece of information is going to be on your door. Every car should have this. This sticker is going to tell you what size of tire your car came with from the manufacturer and which one typically works with your car. And usually you want to stay with this. So for the front, it says 245 35 ZR19 93Y. So let's go see if our tire matches that. Okay, if you look right here, we found the information we need. 245 35 ZR19, and we have right there 93Y. So we know that that matches our car specification, which is a good thing because we know that our tire is fairly new. We know that our tire matches the specifications that the car requires, and we're moving on to the next thing. Now we're gonna look at the outside, and there's a lot of misconceptions, and we're gonna clear those up. First off, you don't want a major crack or puncture on this. Typically, you can't repair that and the tire is no good. But some tires have little lips or they have extra material that goes over the wheel. And really that was designed to protect the wheel. And sometimes you'll look at a tire and it'll be missing a little chunk. Most of the time, if it's not too deep, that's what it was designed for. And that's typically okay, as long as it's not a major chunk, if you're missing a little bit of chunk, because that tire was designed to have an edge to protect the wheels. Now, some tires don't have them, but that is good information to know. So there's a big difference between, a big puncture, a big crack, especially if you're losing air. But just so you know, if there is major damage to the side of the wall of your tire, usually you can't repair that. And if we look at this one, just to give you an example of how they could differ. Now, if you look at this part between the wall and the tread of your tire, same rules apply. If you have a major crack puncture in this area right here, it's not typically repairable. It's kind of weird because if it's a little bit around here, you might be able to repair it. But pretty much this area is one of those areas that you definitely can't repair it. Now, this is also an area you want to look at as far as alignment, if you have too much camber or too little camber. Now, and then when you're looking at your tire, you could take measurements. We made a video showing people how to use the tool, but if you're just eyeballing a tire and you don't have that tool, which I do recommend to have that tool, then what you want to look for, and the key of it is to make sure that everything is even, symmetrical. And if you kind of lean down and you look, you want to make sure that everything is the same height, because as tires wear poorly or the alignment's off, you're going to see little ridges. You're going to see parts that are higher than one part, and usually that's cupping or that's just poor alignment, and that means that the tire is wearing improperly, and that means that the tire is going to be dead, and it's really irreversible once it's gotten to a certain point. You're going to get some more road noise, and you're definitely going to have uneven wear. And if you see a bulge or a bubble that looks like it's inside the tire, that means it has a broken cord most likely, and that's not good. That's a structural part of the tire, and you have to replace the tire. So if you see anything like that, like a bubble or a bulge, that is not good news. Another common thing that people don't think about, but it's very, very common, is we have Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's here, but sometimes people will just read the tire date code and they'll read the size, but they don't look at the small details. And this is a 4S. You want to make sure that all of your tires match. It is so common that somebody might put a different tire. It might not be the right, specifications. And you just want to look at those small details, making sure that, hey, I've got Michelin Pilot 4S's. I need to make sure that all 4 tires match. And not only that, when you're looking at the tire date codes, you really don't want tires that are so different, meaning that you have 3 new tires and you have one that's like 5 years old. That's just not a good practice. You want tires that are within the same range or even just a couple years apart. You don't want them to be so old that it varies by a lot. And that's how you inspect a tire like a pro. If you have any questions, put it in the comments, or you could follow us on Instagram at Drivers Therapy. We appreciate you watching. Hit that like button if you found this information helpful. You take care, and we'll talk to you soon.